Hello, we're back. Welcome back to the show. Thanks for sticking around across the break. We're here with our awesome guest today, PSA. If you have any questions for them as we go through the art-centric portion of our talk today, drop them in the chat, and we'll get to them at a time that makes sense. Feel free to, be involved over there. So back to it. Oh.
Should I keep my camera like this the whole time?
Yes, there we go. So
did you hear that growl that he did? But it was just Rick on the screen, so it looked like maybe his stomach growled or something.
Yeah. I was thinking this joke can go like 20 different ways, like Shannon animorphed a little bit, or like latest collaborator. We got Puggy.
Oh, just immediately comfy.
Yeah.
He's the collaborator.
Yeah.
He comes everywhere with us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
Everywhere. Yep.
Yeah, what's his sign, by the way?
I don't know when he was born. But his adoption date was February 16th, so I don't know what that means.
Pisces or Aquarius? Which Pisces brethren in me, if that's the case. And that makes sense. I could feel
that's the birthday of our relationship, so I guess you can characterize that.
Perfect. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking up this Brussels Griffin thing, and wrong one there.
Right. Okay. I've definitely seen these dogs before.
The way that this looks, like this
so
picture
noble.
is amazing.
Yes. Very astute. Wow.
Like, doesn't he look? He looks presidential.
Yes, very much so.
Like he has what it takes.
Yes, like a ambassador to some place, to a country, to Brussels.
Brussels.
Yeah. I cannot get enough of this picture. So
I'd really like to know the actual pronunciation of the alternative name for that. Petite something.
Oh yeah.
Barbican? Is that what it's in?
I think we've been saying it wrong this entire time.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Well, for our real dog heads out there, they can get us in the chat.
There's also a Griffin Bruxiolus is the breed of the toy dog. There's another name.
That's the scientific term.
I was going to say that sounds
Bruxellis. So
perfect.
Get into that. Denise in the chat says February 16th is Aquarius, just like me.
Okay, just like Rick. Perfect. Love that.
Yeah. Don't forget to charge your crystals.
Yep, don't.
When people say charge your crystals, you don't plug them in, right?
You can.
You can. I think you put them in sunlight.
Or moonlight.
Okay.
Or moonlight, yeah. Maybe it's just moonlight.
I think of it as moonlight.
I think it's exclusively moonlight, but yeah. Anyway.
All right.
Fair.
Shout out to Brussels Griffin. Sounds like an actor's name.
It does. It really does.
But yeah, let's get back into this here. So I read the first part of your bio at the beginning of the show. Something that you expressed to us when we were deciding how this talk should go and getting into it was also like putting a big focus on your collaborators. So since 2019, PSA has presented works by Jacqui Germain, Eurobella and WORK, which is Danielle and Kevin McCoy, Josh Barton, Kiki Salem, L. Williams III, and Maurice L. Tracy at its original site. And in 2020, PSA collaborated with artist Jessie Donovan on an artist billboard as part of the Luminary citywide project. I watch for good news. I work with folks to create good news. And PSA recently opened up a satellite location on the exterior of the Contemporary Art Museum, St. Louis, as a part of the group exhibition Stories of Resistance, on view March 12th to August 15th. So that's there for a while. At CAM, PSA is presenting new works by Jen Everett, Aida Hasanović, and Simiya Sudduth. Sorry if I stuttered on that a little bit. But yes, so like collaboration is a huge part of this project, obviously. And for context, we'll just put like a little image here on the screen for people who are unfamiliar with the work. So this is one of the ways the work manifests. But collaboration was at the core of this project since its inception, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think in the Cool Whip podcast, shout out to our friends Cool Whip. Where's the new pods? We need some new whips.
Excited. We're
But
excited for that whip, forthcoming whip.
in that interview, I think it was Marina, you were saying that you were frustrated, or you were at least being like considerate of how much space that you're taking up with your creative practice, and feeling like, and correct me if I quote that wrong, but that like this project is a way to empower, highlight, and take yourself out of the focus of your creative practice in some ways.
For sure. And just in general, like, I think Shannon and I, like, these works are like, you know, by our collaborators, and Shannon and I just like make it happen. That's really our role.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the way that that happens, the distribution of work between you two is, Marina, you are focused a lot on the fabrication of the tangible like letters. You both do installation, we see in time lapse, and then Shannon, I'm assuming that you're really engaged in the design progress, collaborating with the typography. Is that an accurate description of the breakdown of your workflow?
Yeah, I'm the design consultant.
Okay.
Actually, in this case, what you have on the screen here, this is the installation by Workplay. Kevin McCoy, who's also a designer, he kind of took charge of the design of this installation.
Oh, okay.
Wanted to give him a shout out there for choosing a really cool typeface.
Great. Yeah, and this project was this idea something that you were working with pre Luminary Futures Fund Cycle 1 proposal, or was this something that you all like really kind of formulated and focused for Futures Fund?
Yeah, when we found out about Futures Fund, both of our antennas went up, and then we looked at each other. We're like, should we?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then several drinks at TikTok Tavern later, we made PSA.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we didn't have any idea of what we were going to do. It was just like when the opportunity to apply for the funding presented itself, and then we were like, okay, we should come up with something.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Yeah, so for people who don't know, the Luminary does these cycles of future funds, which is a regranting initiative from the Andy Warhol Foundation that gets money into like really awesome specific projects here in St. Louis that has an impact on the St. Louis community. Luminary is doing really, really great work with that. So, okay. And at that point, you all decided that it was going to be more collaborative than just you two making work together.
So I think we were really interested in the Luminary grant brief, which was, you know, thinking about how to make art that is sustainable, or can support the community and support other artists. Was that part of the brief, or is that something we just wanted to do?
I think it's part of it.
Whoa! Big sneeze. Did everyone hear that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Here's the original mock-up.
Yeah. So this is fake.
This is
Right.
It looks real.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. This is the original mock-up. We thought that we were gonna make it really high, and then we realized our ladder wasn't.
It was
tall
really
enough.
scary.
It was really scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we liked how we settled with
Yeah,
the space that we
15,
chose.
that's like 20 feet. That would be like
Oh my gosh, Marina, I guess
so high.
imagine how long an install would take if we added those 4 extra lines.
Twice the time for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had someone come over to look at the roof on my house, and he like had this, because I brought like a 25-foot ladder. I borrowed a 25-foot ladder and tried to get onto my roof using it, and it still wasn't tall enough. And he has this like massive ladder, and just like, hey, you want to come up on the roof and like take a look at what I'm gonna do? Climbing up that ladder was so scary.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the transition between like the last rung of that ladder onto the roof, I felt like I was like I was like a baby in a pool, just like breaching the water.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe y'all would have got used to it, but that 25-foot letter that top line there would have been
Yeah.
would have been
That'd
a
be
whole
a lot.
vibe.
Take it on.
So yeah, we see that, like for instance in this picture here, some of
so this is actually a picture of our first installation that was overcome by the wind. So you can see
wow.
it's
yeah.
we didn't. It says it I dan Iru. This is not a Latin text. This is just
this was your lorem
after a
ipsum.
storm.
Yeah.
This
I
was
love
Jacqui
how we're
Germain's-
I love how we're
Jacqui
starting
Germain's,
with like
installation.
we're starting with like this
Shit that went wrong.
and
Yeah.
Your collaboration with Wind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Local artists here in St. Louis.
But we do want to give a shout out to the neighbors of the Marine Villa neighborhood, because every time a storm came through and knocked some letters off, neighbors would notify us or like would collect the letters, put them aside.
Oh,
so
wow.
we're really grateful for the neighborhood for
Yeah.
supporting the project in that way.
We have never, or in that installation, we never lost a single letter. They always returned. Like people would gather them, bring them back. And,
So it's really a community effort.
Yeah.
It's like when someone loses a hubcap, they put it just right next to the pole, and it's just like, hey, I'll remember you
why
lost it
there's
here.
somebody-
Maybe you won't, but the hubcap's gonna sit there right next to the pole, and
Yeah.
you might get it. We don't know, but I guess there's a form of contact that's like, if you lose a letter, please contact this, or is that like on the back of the letter?
Yeah,
or
we
something?
should
Oh,
put
that'd be
little.
nice.
That'd
Oh
be
yeah,
nice.
it's found. Please call. Oh
Yes,
Yeah.
precisely.
yeah.
Exactly.
We
Then
haven't
we'd be getting.
No, go
What were you
ahead.
saying?
We'd
I
be
would we'd be getting text messages from people saying like, "Hey, we found your pee."
Yeah.
You know.
In
Yeah.
quotes with
Yeah.
Well, I'm chomping at the bit for this kind of thing about this project because I personally am really curious about the public aspect of it, and so I'm curious of like what your guys' experiences maybe individually and then collaboratively about, I guess, either in like where has public art been in your mind, and has there really ever been a space that you've put work forth or even collaborated with people prior to this in the public space?
Do you want to go?
I don't really have any experience with public art, but I think that was the reason why I wanted to do apply for Futures Fund, because I was like, I think that the galleries, while beautiful, they're not necessarily engaged with by like the neighborhoods they're in. So when you put the work in the neighborhood outside, and there's no admission, no walls, no door, it's just there,
And also no specific social context. We've been to like all the openings in St. Louis, and it's a social event, which is nice and fun, but also there's a sense of exclusivity sometimes where someone might feel like, oh, I don't engage in the art scene, so I feel like there's a barrier for me to start or enter, or be in a situation where it is very social, and people, especially in St. Louis, a lot of people know each other, and that could be really intimidating for folks who aren't already in that.
Yeah. A big thing for us is we don't do programming or openings really. Like it's just like it's there.
We're just like, it's up, y'all. Go get it.
Yeah, exactly. So there's no congested like opening day where like everyone goes only then. They talk to each other. They don't look at the work, and then they like leave and never come back. Yeah, we try to avoid that. It's really just...
I'm sorry. I'll go ahead and just ask the question. I'm sure you're asked in every interview, but how did you decide on that space first? Like, what was it about that wall?
We have a good friend, a generous friend.
Generous friend. Yeah. I mean, Shannon and I don't really know like people who own buildings.
Okay.
Because we're so young and
There's a few
small.
property owners in the Rolodex. Yeah, I
Right.
gotcha.
Yeah. But, I happen to have a mentor and friend who bought that building like a few years before that.
Gotcha.
And that wall was like, I'd look at it all the time and be like, this is a great wall. We need to
Fantastic
do something
wall.
with it.
Yeah.
So shout out to Colin Garrity.
Yeah.
Sorry, were you not specifically not? He
Oh no, yeah, Colin Garrity. Yeah.
Colin
We'll
Garrity
drop
is a
that. We'll
woodworker.
drop that.
Yeah.
You didn't hear anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it puts a lot of. I wonder, if Colin feels like there is a lot of pressure, to make this window look good here. You guys see?
Do you see his vases? Those are his wooden vases.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is also really good. That's a missed opportunity. it could be a missed opportunity, but it's not. So
right.
Actually, he wanted to put see the door to the right of that window. He wanted to put a vending machine there.
Oh, for sure.
To sell wooden Christmas ornaments.
When he texted us, Marina was freaking out.
No, I wasn't freaking out. I was just like,
He was like, would you guys mind if I put a vending machine next to your installation?
But it's his building. He can do whatever he wants
That's
with
true.
it. And we're lucky
Honestly,
to
sounds kind of fun.
be there.
Yeah.
Y'all could sell letters in there, like kind of like a make your own like art.
Yeah.
You know?
Hey.
Or just random letters. You know, you put like different letters in the same vending machine spot.
Right. For sure. Well, and just since I bring up the location, I'm curious, like, you know, I don't feel like that's kind of like anonymous STL, like that building, like that could be literally anywhere in St. Louis in a way, which I think is cool. I was actually talking with my good friend Margo Wilhite, who's here in Chicago and St. Louis based, or previously poet and artist. So just shout out Margo. And anyway, but we were talking about your guys' work and specifically this location, and something she said was just like, I love that there would be people in this neighborhood that have just no idea what the hell's going on, and that it's just part of their walk, and that this is very much not like we went to a space to see a piece. It's just like this is beautifying the world in a way. And to someone, it might just be like, oh, is there a new piece? Great. Okay. Bye. You know, and then it not being this, because, you know, there's, I mean, you guys are really, I think, expanding in this beautiful way, and where it started with, you know, getting like Futures Fund and stuff like that. But then it can also seemingly to me, like, and to Margo, sit in this space of like, it's just a nice little thing, you know? And I think that people don't like think about that enough, or don't like spend enough time with just adding to the neighborhood. So I guess I'm curious too, like, you know, you said that people are calling you guys to let you know that letters have flown away. What are like, what are some like, there've been other reactions perhaps?
Yeah, that's actually one of the most fun parts, is meeting neighbors when we're on site, either installing or deinstalling, because we meet a lot of neighbors who live close by, so we see them often, and sometimes, you know, they're looking forward to the next installation. We get reactions from them. We have had people stop and like
Jump
cry
out of the
and
car,
hug us. This was pre-COVID. We know some neighborhood kids who have helped us with install and deinstall sometimes.
Oh,
cool. We've had a man stop us with his dog named Bojangles, and he performed a song for us on his harmonica based on the PSA.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he sung it. He put it to music.
It was,
I forgot whose installation was it. Kiki's?
No, it was Danielle and Kevin.
Okay.
McCoy's,
So yeah, we just that's been a really fun part. We get some positive honks of people driving by. It is funny though, when we're working on site and we have the ladder, we see some like men in trucks who are rolling by. We're like, what are those girls doing with a ladder? You know, girls can't use ladders.
Yeah. My favorite is when a car like clearly is like slowed down behind us while we're working, and we turn around and look at them, and they quickly drive away. It's really funny.
Can't be seen looking at art. Oh, someone's gonna think something about me.
Is this like a little plaque here?
Yeah.
Okay.
We put up an informational plaque every time an installation goes up, with context about the writer or the artist. They write a statement about the installations to give some extra context, and we have a little blurb about PSA.
Was that something you questioned? Was it like, should we just like let this be kind of this installation and let people do with it what they want, or was that also that form of communication there in the beginning and important to you?
That's a good question.
I think the writing that goes on the plaque, it's completely written by the contributor, and we don't necessarily give them, like, we give them a word count, but they can do whatever they want with it. So like Jacqui, she was the first PSA. She just like, it was almost like a continuation of her piece. It was super poetic and like really powerful. And like others have just like, you know, it was more like a 3-sentence like I statement about like what it meant to them. And so like yeah, it's I think it's just a chance for them to elaborate or like give their view if they want to, but they can do whatever they want with it.
But it's interesting because it made me think the choice of putting a plaque there immediately kind of anchors it as an art or like a intentional art piece, I feel like. So I'm wondering what the experience would be to engage with this work if there wasn't a plaque and if it was just no context given and you just had to focus on the text and not question why it's here. Or I guess you would question why it's here because you don't know. But
I'm also like I'm not convinced that like it's read that often necessarily. Like, you know,
you have
like
to be
also
really
when I go to the museum or like see a piece, I don't necessarily read the text. I like to just absorb the piece itself. I have caught one person like really thoroughly reading it. He looked like Santa Claus. So he's forever. He's really forever in my memory.
Oh, and also just a note for anyone who's watching, the piece that's up right now is written by L. Williams III, who's a poet.
And that's the one that we're looking at here.
Yeah.
Yes. Right.
It's not up currently.
Oh, not up currently, but what's on screen. Yeah.
Yes. Thanks for sharing that. Denise in the chat says so many levels of coolness and interaction. So thanks for that feedback, Denise. Yeah, I mean, you've got like, I don't know, I bounce between my tendencies as an artist of like putting something up without context or, you know, sharing something with a community and approaching it in a way that like it speaks for itself or that it doesn't need explanation. But then also like it's really important to consider the communities that we're in, consider the communities that we're interacting with. And like for the people that want to hang a right there and park their car and get out, they can, you know, see this and have this make sense and also know it's not vandalism, know it's not, you know, something like outside of the scope of what's what, you know, like what Colin wants or what's accepted there, and it gives like a formality that I think might make some of your audience members in that neighborhood feel comfortable, or even like an avenue of being able to go deeper into this work. 'Cause if it was there without that, like how do people continue to access that work and learn about those stories?
Yeah. I think a lot about a lot of murals that aren't necessarily tagged with like the artist's name or like, you know, something to like then try to find them. And it always makes me sad. I'm like, how do I figure out who did this, you know? So I felt like it was important for us to, you know, put our collaborators' names on there.
Yeah, I think that well, I'm also like a designer and illustrator by trade. So for me, like the communicative value of work is really important to me. And like, I think context is so important, especially in like contemporary art, which you can like, you look at a piece of art and you can appreciate it for its like formal qualities or like what it makes you think of. But I personally love having the context there. I like having the perspective of the artist so I can understand the purpose of the art or what it's trying to accomplish.
Yeah, and it's another way of shifting the conversation from shifting the conversation from PSA to the artist as well. Like if this was just, you know, I'm agreeing with you there.
I've been thinking a lot about like I guess the aestheticization, that's not a word, of like public art, because especially preparing for this kind of thing, that there's a lot of, you know, in Instagram world or something where you know, someone will put something up, like I could think of like you guys being on the farthest most like earnest, cool, breaking the mold sort of, and then on the far other side is like those big giant wings that are like on the side of brick walls, like in Nashville, that like and gets like these photos or whatever they may be, and like that's still people participating in art, which is beautiful, you know. So to say like for me to like have an opinion about it is kind of silly, but then like the context of like let's say a Nashville wings thing, that like they'll just be like just the person's like Instagram handle or something, and that's it,
like painted
which
into
like I would poo-poo per se than like having an actual plaque or something. But at the same time, like I want to know who did it, you know. It's like even as formal as this plaque may be, like can you drop the can you drop the IG handle too? Like I want to follow your work going forward, you know. And like, you know, the use of QR codes and stuff like that, and there's a zillion things going on in there. So I guess I'm curious, like from that perspective of like, let's just go with like the social interaction and how people like document it for their own use. Like, how have you guys wrestled with that kind of context, especially because this work is, I think, far more like, I guess for lack of a better term, like political. It has space where someone's like really trying to say something. It's not just kind of it's not wings on the side of urban chestnut. I'm sorry, it's just not, you know.
Yeah.
No shade whatsoever.
Marina, that's something we talked about when we were working at the beginning of the project. We're like, we don't know how people are going to engage with these. Like, are people just going to, take I don't think we imagined that, because I think it would be really inappropriate for some of these installations to put yourself inside of the picture, because it's really about the text. Like you just had Elle's piece up there, which was a eulogy, basically. So I can't, I think we expected that people would experience it in a way that is meaningful to them, whatever that may be.
Yeah, when when we scroll Instagram and see if we've been tagged, or like maybe sometimes we check the neighborhood studio tag, we'll like see images that people took and pop up there, and they're not usually selfies. Actually, they're usually just a photo they took of the wall that they wanted to share. And like also like just in our like physical experience there, like we'll be there working, and like we'll see someone walk by and like take a photo of the work, and not like not this kind of thing.
But it's funny that you bring up Kiki's now, Kiki Salem's piece, which I feel like is totally so much different than Elle's piece.
Right.
This one feels very, it is meant to be empowering and implicating the viewer and the reader in a very direct way. So I feel like, and maybe more people took pictures of themselves in front of Kiki's piece because of that empowering aspect of it.
Yeah.
Also, I guess we can like talk a little bit too about like the digital audience. Like I think Kiki's particularly, this one was like reshared so many times, and was just like, it was really cool to see how far it spread that way. They didn't have to be there, to take a photo. They could just share the image that we took. But for them, it was like sharing her PSA.
There are a couple of things. Yeah, I wanted to bring this up because I thought it was kind of the most contrast of like, this is one that I saw a lot more interaction with on social, or a lot more people kind of like being a part of this image. I feel like this speaks, like this is one that you step into and you can own this message for yourself and engage in this message for yourself. And there are a couple of other things that change with this one. The banner style of the text is very unique and divergent for the scope of what we see PSA typically do. And and then I'm not actually sure of the timing of this, but I think that looking at this one and then also looking at Jessie Donovan's billboard, and thinking about them as like similar materials as well. So there's like this banner material, and then this like I think most often billboards are kind of like this tarp-like banner, vinyl tarp material, and we have a detail of it here. Okay.
That's hand embroidery by Kiki.
Oh, wow.
That was a nice touch that she added to it as well.
Yeah.
Kiki works a lot with fiber arts, so.
Yeah, maybe that's why we were kind of drawn to working, we talked about doing banners with her, and she was really on board. She also like does tapestries in her work and a lot of fiber, so I think it really made sense.
A big part of the banner decision for Kiki's work was because we wanted to accommodate the Arabic text, and so the way our infrastructure set up, it would have been difficult to cut out the Arabic text in place that it wouldn't have fit on the wires so well. So that's why we opted for a banner approach.
Oh wow, that's super interesting, and I did not make that connection. So the framework of it is this like 3-wire, kind of like how you'd practice cursive is how I think of it. As
it's actually just two wires per line. That's what we set up initially. Which means, so that sets up a constraint for us when we're designing and using typefaces, is that you have a baseline and an X height. So in typography, the X height is like, or the cap height, sorry. Like basically the letters have to reach the bottom and the top wire, which for a long time we thought we wouldn't be able to accommodate lowercase. And then we realized that we just have to use a different typeface in order to make sure that lowercase letters could reach the height of the wire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really nice to like evolve our process and like realize that things that we didn't think we could do early on, like that we could do them. Yeah, we've learned a lot from installation to installation.
Yeah, and the other major connection that I'm really interested in at this point is how you think about this work in the context of like both graffiti, advertisement, and then billboards, as we can get to the to Jessie's work, but also the billboard was often painted on the side of brick buildings here in St. Louis too. And thinking about, Shannon, your design practice and how design and illustration are very connected with advertisement, that this work occupies a space kind of in between graffiti and advertisement, and I'm just curious, like, how you all see that relationship.
Yeah, that's something we were thinking about early on at the conception of the project, was that like going around St. Louis, we see remnants of all of these commercial hand-painted signs that have been since, faded and like destroyed on buildings everywhere. And there's still traces of that. And that was part of the visual vernacular of St. Louis. And so in a way that we wanted this installation to follow that tradition as well. Although this isn't commercial messages, but it's interesting. Yeah, thinking about billboards or advertisements are really just ways to proliferate ideas, but with a means of making money. So with us, we wanted to proliferate ideas with a means of supporting and amplifying artists' voices in St. Louis.
Yeah, I think murals maybe kind of stand out from like the advertisements and billboard thing, because they're usually like a little bit more permanent. It lasts like quite a long time, and for us, like we wanted it to be like temporary, is like what we called it. So each piece is up for about 2 months, sometimes a little bit more. And I don't know, I like that we're able to, each piece can kind of build off the last one, and it's always changing. It's not like static and just it is what it is.
And I wonder too, just briefly, maybe it's a little technical or it's like it's unnecessary, but this particular piece, like being static, did it kind of move in the wind a little bit, like since it is versus just like static letters, like the movement of this piece in particular, did it kind of work with a little different, clearly?
Yeah, it has ripples. It did move. It also, man, these St. Louis storms.
Yeah, it was tornado.
There was tornadoes during this installation. So
no, there wasn't a real no tornado touchdown, but like really high winds and stuff. So this was another one where the wind kind of got us, but again, these like amazing neighbors like came and like rolled them up, the ones that fell, and
so sweet.
We were able to put them right back up.
That's awesome.
I was surprised. You talk about change, and I was surprised. I didn't know that PSA would ever leave the wall, leave the 2222 wall.
We didn't know that either.
Right?
Yeah, we definitely didn't.
So when you guys got this opportunity to work with the Luminary and with Jessie Donovan, how did it feel for it to leap off of this brick wall?
It felt like a natural extension of the project, because we were excited that a billboard is a public messaging site that's often used for commercial purposes. So taking up that space that's used for commercializing like products, or what's funny is the billboards below Jessie Donovan's piece, they rotated a lot, and they were always just really sensational. Like one was about guns, one was about abortion. I don't know. They were a lot.
Is this like a Narcan ad behind?
Yeah, this is a Narcan ad. So, and which in and of itself is a public service announcement.
Yeah.
So we like the idea of this billboard being used to promote Jessie's voice rather than a product.
This is going to get a little local Twitter for us here. This is in Manchester, correct?
Is it still up?
Or
It's,
it
was,
was
yeah,
right?
it's on
it was yeah.
Because
Manchester, very close to Maplewood.
yes, okay. When I first saw this piece ever, I was like, I know exactly where that is because I grew up partially in Maplewood, so I've driven
Nice.
past this particular sign. I know like there's like a train track that goes right
Yeah.
behind it,
Yeah.
and one of my favorite things about it was like, oh my God, that's so cool. I've passed that every single day. That's incredible.
Aw.
But what kind of bummed me out though, is that I believe Jessie's piece replaced this like vape shop ad that had this
Okay.
amazing alien on it that was very like take me to your dealer kind of vibe, like had like the wiggle, like, you know, like very MS Paint kind of vibe. So I was like, and I've like taken pictures of that ad, and there's this house that's across the street that has like a giant plastic alien just like hanging in a tree for some reason.
Yeah.
So I've always kind of associated this sort of like alien alleyway, a kind of
Mhm.
space of like this is Alien Way.
Yeah.
But you know
Vape
what? It's a
God
welcome
Boulevard.
change. Yeah.
And then Jesse came in with the real down to earth.
With the heat.
Yes. Some
realness.
really
Yeah.
beautiful work for sure. But
Yeah.
I was so excited to see that and be like, I know exactly where that is, and I know what it replaced, and maybe someday the vape
Nice.
shop will come back. We'll see. But anyway,
Maybe.
you guys
Thank-
should collaborate with them actually, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alien work. PSA and vape vibes or whatever it's called, probably. Anyway.
Yeah.
Total nerd blind moment though is that the bricks in your logo referencing the bricks of St. Louis just hit me
Yes.
finally today because I don't know,
Yes.
where was I? Who am I?
Thought they were just cool geometric shapes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nah, it's more.
Yeah.
No, and I know that's a
Yeah.
moment for Rick right there because he's like showing love, but I know there's some part of him he's like, son of a bitch. I
They're
need
so
to be doing
good.
this stuff.
They're
I
so
need to-"
good.
It's actually funny seeing our logo now on the billboard on a non-brick surface.
Right.
So
Totally.
you know, it's a paying homage to where we started.
Yeah.
And also now at CAM, we're on cement. We're not even on brick.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Well, it is rectangular. All of these things are rectangular. So,
that's true.
you know, maybe that was my association as like, oh, they're really big into rectangular prisms. And then the
Yeah.
bricks, it was just like an accident. We were like, yeah, we're going to roll with like a rectangular prism type vibe for the PSA brand. And then Marina was like, but bricks. And Shannon was like, yeah, bricks.
Yeah, oh, bricks though.
No, I knew that.
Oh my God.
I love when people try to guess like backstories. I love doing it too.
Yeah.
That's not what happened.
Oh,
Okay, perfect. There we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah,
Um,
that's okay. So yeah, I mean, you brought it up, and this is another time that it's leaping off of the building, or maybe it doesn't even feel like PSA is like leaping off of the building anymore. That
Mhm.
like PSA, do you think of the 2222 location as the home base, or are you thinking of it now like more synonymous with where these installations can take place?
Yeah, I mean, 2222 Chippewa has a dear place in our heart. But I don't think when we started the project, we never thought that it didn't occur to us that PSA could or would take place elsewhere, which is nice. It's kind of nomadic now. So PSA is less place oriented, more concept oriented. But as long as it's public facing and as long as it's I don't know, on a wall, then maybe one day it doesn't need to be on a wall. Who knows?
On a plane, maybe.
Yeah.
Not an airplane, a plane. You know.
I think at its core, it just has to be public facing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
if it is
I-
on an airplane,
Yeah.
we want to get a collab with the travel agency
Oh.
involved. We use a lot of
Oh,
airplane
yeah.
imagery.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll link. We'll talk.
Okay.
Hey, oh my God, what if we put PSAs on, on the tray tables when they're folded up, and it always says, "Keep tray table folded up." But it doesn't need to say that. We get it at that
So
point. We
tray
can
table
replace it
and-
with
yeah.
PSAs.
Yeah.
There
Tray table by
is
PSA.
a banner plane, which I think banner planes are
Yeah.
extremely underutilized.
Oh yes.
And there's one that flies around here on the beaches of Chicago with a Geico ad. And it's so frustrating because I see it and I'm just like, this could be literally anything else. and it's not, and it's very simplified because I think their designers like, you have to keep it like big,
Yeah,
bold,
it's moving.
blocky
It's a
text.
moving
It's
target.
moving
Yeah.
and it's super high up. So it's like Geico, 15% off or something like that.
Is the gecko in it?
The gecko is on it. Yes.
Oh,
Okay, you
good.
gotta
Gotta have the gecko in there. But
that would have. Oof.
yeah. And I think too, like, sorry, I'll shut up about this in a
No, we're
second. But like
going.
Telfar just did a big ad where they did the Telfar symbol like in like smoke off of a plane. Like they did like the plane. What is that called?
Mhm.
Rick, you know what I'm
Oh,
talking about.
skywriting?
Plane riding?
Skywriting, duh.
Skywriting?
So they did skywriting, but they did the Telfar ad, which was or symbol rather. And I was like, skywriting. Have we done that enough? I don't know, but I guess I mean someone's have to have done banners, and Rick is proving that
Yeah,
to us here.
this is
with Jamie.
yeah,
What's it say?
Jamie
It's
Holmes.
hard
There,
to read that
yeah, I'm
text.
trying to enlarge. These are last words of. This is George Floyd's last words. They did. Jamie Holmes did a series on these over the skies of Houston. I think it was in different cities. I don't actually know, but they're going to kill me. Please, I can't breathe. I think there's a series of 5, and this is just amazingly powerful work. Oh, I'm totally. This looks bad on the stream. I'm sorry.
Oh no, we're getting there. We got it.
Yeah. Let me pay homage.
Yeah,
we see it.
Yeah.
So that's something that I think about a lot is the ways that the sky can be transformed, or the ways these words jump off pages and jump off walls and jump off digital screens.
But before that happens, before we get there, well, and I'm really curious too that like, so now that you guys are on the wall of an institution, previously it was kind of on like a nameless wall, if you will. Now we're outside of the institution as of public art, but it's affixed to a public institution, but you're viewing it from a public street. I'm curious how you guys have kind of dealt with that in any space.
Yeah, it was interesting when Cam reached out to us and invited us to participate in the exhibition, and we didn't know they didn't have a specific placement in mind, and so we met with the curators and did a site visit and took a look at various sites on and around Cam. Me and Marina knew that it was important for us for it to be on the exterior and not, they have a courtyard also, but you have to enter the museum in order to access the courtyard. And it is interesting that now it's associated with a contemporary art institution. So now it is art now,
right?
Or in a way that maybe it might not have been read that way before by someone who wasn't seeing it for the sake with the intention of I'm going to see art now.
Right. Well, and it being on the outside of a public institution, because I believe Cam is
it's
public.
free. Yeah, it's free
always.
Public.
So
yeah.
like even if it was inside, it would still I think meet that kind of public space narrative. But I think it makes total sense that y'all would put it on the outside just to be like, it is the most public facing, like we could possibly be.
And it doesn't have to contend with Joe.
Right. Yes, which I think would be hard. Can you guys put your words on Joe? Is that possible? had you put that by anyone?
Run that.
I'm sure that my colleagues at the Pulitzer would love that.
We'll just call up Richard and just get Emmy to call. Get Emmy to call up Richard and see if he's cool with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a kind of a prank sort of in a way. Well, and like I think it's really particularly interesting too. I'm going to shout out our good friend Marissa Demkoski of explaining to me of the ZMD tax that St. Louis gets, which is the Metropolitan Zoological Park and Museum District tax, which allows for a lot of these things to stay open, and specifically I think SLAM and St. Louis Art Museum. And I guess St. Louis, and I'm sorry, this is all Marissa, please give her all the love.
Yeah.
That we are the only city in America, in all of the U.S., that we are the last one with a ZMD tax. So I feel like kind of the way that St. Louisans are used to participating in art is a very public-facing space. It's even indoors, it's still public, And I guess that's more a statement
free.
than a question.
We have the most free like places
activities.
To go. Activities.
The zoo.
Places. Yeah. Every place but the Botanical Gardens, I think.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, because the Botanical Gardens expensive.
It's a little expensive.
It's a little expensive. Maybe we're just so we're so used to this free lifestyle that we have, but it can be pricey, but that's okay. See those Chihuly pieces? I love that when I go with my aunts and uncles and people. So, and then this piece is up until August, we said?
So
No.
the exhibition is up until August, but we're
Okay.
as part of the exhibition, we'll have 3 separate texts. So the one you see
amazing.
right now is Jen Everett, and this is going to be up until Marina has all the dates in her head.
Until early May. Like
yeah.
Mhm.
And then next up we'll have Aida Hasanović, and then third is going to be Simiya Sudduth.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's really just a satellite location of PSA. It's not too different other than the wall, really. Yeah.
Denise in the
It just
chat
occurred to me.
said nomadic art. Love nomadic art. That's our digital nomad.
Yes,
Denise.
my mom.
Sorry to interrupt you, Marina. What were you gonna say?
Oh, no, you're fine. I was just gonna say I realized that 222 Chippewa is on a corner, and that was really important to us, and like so is this technically.
Yeah.
And like the wall, this particular wall, they haven't actually done like a work on it before. They have street views, which is like on the other side of the building, like the Washington Boulevard side. But this is really us activating which is a projection. Sorry, yeah. But yeah, we're activating this wall that like otherwise has never been activated.
Wow. Well, and like the physics of the wall kind of bends a little bit. Like you guys, you have that digital screen now that bends. You're not just a flat. You got that Samsung.
Marina
wall.
had to come up with Marina came up with a smart solution to make sure that the wires stayed kind of or weren't affected by the bend of the wall.
Wow.
So if you look really closely, which you can't see here, there's little acrylic spacers that are along the wall that the wires kind of tuck in.
Yeah,
too.
That was my. I really peaked there with my engineering.
Yeah,
I'll never match it.
That does sound very peak, honestly. Wow. I'm just gonna keep going. I'm sorry, I have so many questions. I'm also curious. I'm personally a photographer. I wonder with this piece in particular, or any pieces you guys have dealt with, in terms of like photographing your art, photographing the pieces themselves. Like, have there been ones that are particularly more challenging? Have you found that like I kind of forgot that there was a lamppost there. Like I feel like I was looking at the 2222 space.
We hate that
lamppost,
street not through sign, or that lamppost.
The lamppost is usually okay. It's the street not through sign, because there's this awesome angle that you can get if you stand across the street and like go at the building at an angle. But that street not through sign covers some of the installation sometimes. So.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah,
because it seems like very few things are getting in the way, and I feel like shadow is almost something you probably have to worry about most in terms of what will kind of reiterate the piece. Like I could almost view like what's in shadow is to be considered like verse 1, and then what's in sun is verse 2.
We love the shadow in this picture. And our friend actually took this picture on a bike ride on his phone. And it was just happened to be that time of day where the shadow, like you said, is really poetic. Where, so the text reads, "In deep darkness, we become invisible. And then somehow we find each other as metallic. And we feel our way through." Sorry, I just butchered the read of that text.
No, that's fine.
But yeah, I love how the shadow eclipses the piece in a way that makes a lot of sense for the content.
Yeah, it really does affect time of day. Like, we really learn the sites that we're working at, and so we try to go at the right times, like what we think the piece needs. Like if we photograph it in certain conditions so people can see it that way. It's big for us.
Well, I'm curious too, if you guys have ever just sat with your work at night, like it's like 2 a.m. even, just sitting there like kind of looking at it and observing it, and just very, very much nighttime, if that's had any sort of effect.
We haven't done that yet.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. I did actually. Well, I took a photo of Maurice's piece, which is currently at 2222 Chippewa. At night, it was like maybe 9 p.m. But I mean, I used my iPhone, which is a terrible iPhone 5, so it was not a good picture. But yeah, like the nighttime experience is so different from the daytime. It kind of emerges from the wall in a way. Like you have to be kind of close, and then you kind of see it then.
But that's something we realized shortly after like the first installation went up, Jacqui's, that the lighting condition and the like just the weather conditions can really affect how you read and interpret the text.
Yeah.
And so I feel like installations thrive in certain environmental conditions.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been fun to observe that.
For sure.
And also like when we're talking to our collaborators and like familiarizing them with like the project, and you know they start to get to writing, like we always talk about seasons, and sometimes it really does inform, or like we really kind of coax out like something, an idea they have or something. So like Maurice's again, like it mentions rain, and like we knew that it was going to be up in the spring, and so we felt like it was really good to lean into that. Also wind, and it's about to be tornado season, so
Maurice's text, maybe we can put it up if there's a picture in the file. Maurice's text also kind of implicates this idea of rebirth and emerging from one condition into something else. There's a temporal nature to it, and so we like that that their piece is up at this time of year, but also like at this very weird transitional time in our country and the world. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean it's just great to spend time with it.
Yeah,
and
I've yet to see it in person, which I need to. I have to mention that. Yes.
The text is subtly metallic and a little reflective.
Yeah. I did, that's more of a technical question, but since you brought it up, is the material, the metallic, coming from the material, or are you adding something to make it metallic, adding something to the material?
It's the material.
Okay.
Usually the way we achieve these like colors or finishes is we apply vinyl to like the plastic that we cut these letters out of.
Oh, I see.
So like this has like a subtle silver vinyl.
Nice.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Any opportunity to use metallic text, we're all well. And this was our third or fourth metallic piece.
Yeah, like
Barton had one line that was super reflective and caught light and really shined in the light.
And Jen Everett at Cam currently has a similar silver like mirror finish. But
and
this
Elle's piece was copper.
Yeah, this piece is like a less reflective silver, and Elle's piece was also a similar copper metallic. So not mirror finish, but like it really changes in the light.
Yeah, the metallic is great. And it fits, like it's almost like predictive or clairvoyant that you were working with those materials, and then that entered like Cam's walls because of the concrete and the metal and the way light operates on that side of the building. It's almost like y'all knew.
Thanks.
We're gonna take our next break here, if everyone's cool with that. Hello, we're back. You can hear the crowd behind me. I don't know if this was a really successful use of my energy. It sounds just kind of busy. I need it to sound. It doesn't sound quite like an airport. I want it to sound a little bit more like an airport in the future. Anyways, hello everyone, welcome back. I wanted to feel like we were in like a liminal space, like we were in Jake's corner.
For sure.
But it kind of just sounds like background noise commotion.
I think there's like a plate, like fork to plate clink that I hear that makes me think it's in a restaurant, or maybe we're at the like Applebee's to go at the airport. Maybe
that's true. You will hear a fork clink at an airport. You will hear that.
Exactly.
But
that's what I'm saying.
It's not classic. I don't even know what classic airport noise is. There needs to be like an announcement.
Yeah, like a muffled announcement.
Yeah, muffled announcement I think would really sell it.
We'll work on those for sure.
We're back here with our guest, PSA. Hello. Did you have a rejuvenating break?
Yeah, I ate some cashews.
I took a really long, forceful pee.
Yeah.
Love those.
You had to get it all out in 10 minutes. I know it's a struggle.
Better out
it's
than
hard.
in.
Yeah.
That's right.
That coffee Coke.
Yeah. Makes it happen.
So one of the things that we haven't
here.
Oh yes.
Oh, there we go. That's what the people want. Little muffin Cam. Really quick, what is like the food nickname? Is there a food nickname that you use at all?
I I call him Piña a lot, which I guess is pineapple in Spanish. That's one food-related name.
Okay.
Marina, can you think of any others? Mr. Chicken Dog,
Chicken
Dog?
boy.
Chicken Boy. It was Chicken Boy.
Okay.
Okay.
Like you're specifically referencing chicken as food, not chicken as an animal.
No.
Are they not the same?
There's a bit of a difference.
As a vegetarian and as Rick is a vegan, they're very different, actually.
Marina's a
I
vegetarian.
say that and I'm a vegetarian.
Oh, chicken dog.
Respect. Yes, little chicken dog.
Little chicken dog. Yeah. Jake, help us. Yeah.
Dog, public art. Yeah. So
chicken dog. Costumes. We wanted to share some of these these broadsides that you produced. Do you produce a broadside for each iteration of PSA?
Mm-hmm. And for those who don't know, because I didn't know, a broadside is what is it, Marina? It's a printed version of a poem or a takeaway. What is it, Marina?
I think the definition is just like when you print a poem and like when you put a poem in print,
disseminate it.
Sure, and not like in a book, but like on like a single sheet, like yeah.
Marina was very adamant about calling these broadsides.
To respect our collaborators who are poets and writers, and like maybe that language is something they like to use.
It's nicer than a flyer for this particular use case.
Flyer.
Yeah,
it's not like a rave flyer,
which would be sick, but yeah.
Historically, broadsides were used as proclamations or commentary, or simply advertisements. But
which plays into the whole public service announcement theme.
It totally does.
Thanks, Google.
Thanks, Google. So this is Jacqui Germain's text translated into a risograph printed broadside. Oh, these are sold out.
Mm-hmm.
And before you ask, it's sold out.
How many do you usually run in an edition?
We usually do 50.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you, Shannon, do all of the design of these broadsides?
Yeah, for the most part. I'd say I take the lead on the designs.
Mm-hmm. And this is a way for people to own a piece of the temporal, installation, to support PSA as well, and maybe to support PSA and the exhibiting artist. Yeah.
Yeah. Profits are shared between our contributors and the project, and sometimes we donate a portion of profits also to organizations.
Cool.
Yeah, but yeah, these are just a way for people to connect with the text outside of the public setting, bring it into their space, share it with people in their life. It's been fun to distribute these.
Yeah.
And the way that each PSA eventually comes down and it's temporary, these are kind of like a way to commemorate the piece and hang on to one if the message really resonated with you and you want it in your home.
Yeah. How do you, is this like similar to like when people have multiple children and they have a hard time like picking a favorite child? Do you run into that problem at all?
Like picking a favorite installation?
Yeah. Like do you have things like how do you think about like the success of these installations after they come down, or like the collection of memories that you have from these particular ones? Because I feel like for me it would be really difficult because they're all kind of like my babies.
Yeah. You go, Marina.
I was gonna say, yeah, they're definitely our babies and and our collaborators' babies, I guess. But yeah, I would say we can't pick favorites. I
wouldn't ask you to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
really
about
not
that.
Record.
I would say my favorite part is just that transition period where we're starting a new installation. And I think about like how thinking about the seasons, like I don't have a favorite season. I just love the moment when seasons change and you realize the difference and you smell it in the air. And so I think it's the same with our PSA installations. I'm just excited when we start a new installation and recognizing the connections they have to the ones that came before, but also how each collaborator evolves the project just from participating. I love seeing that.
Are these letters archived, or do you get rid of them?
They're in Marina's studio, right?
They're in my studio. Yeah, the only ones that aren't are we gave the banners to Kiki for her to use for the future.
Cool.
We don't know what we're going to do with the letters after that, if that was your next question. And sometimes we offer them to our collaborators, like, hey, if you have any ideas or like want to repurpose these in any way, by all means, like we want to support you. But so far, no one's had a plan yet. And also they just take up space.
Yeah.
Totally.
Well, we'll just let Marina hold on to them until we have an idea for them, and then we'll kind of,
Yeah. I mean, I'm very excited to think of something to do with them.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool that you have them. I mean, at some point it might present an issue if you have, like hundreds of these.
Too many letters. Yeah.
But it's not like ruining your life. There's not too much yet, right? Because they flat stack and you can hold on to them pretty easy.
Yeah.
I would love to do like some sort of kitchen sink installation where we mix and match styles from each of like letters from each of the installations and do like a ransom note style PSA.
Yes.
I think that'd be really cool.
Like a giant refrigerator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First things first, get a giant refrigerator.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
World's largest, Guinness Book of World Records largest refrigerator.
Oh, there has to be one somewhere in the world.
Oh, there's got to be. I just drove through Iowa yesterday, and Iowa has a pull-off spot for Iowa's largest frying pan.
How large is it?
Yeah, how many people can you fit in
it?
So we did pull over to check it out. It was about 10 minutes off the highway, and it was not very impressive.
Oh no.
Yeah, let me I can pull up an image for us here. Let's see.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen larger.
It's like slightly larger than a human, which like if you're going to go big, why is that where you stopped?
I mean, that's the biggest one in Brandon, Iowa, I think.
Yeah, we pulled up, and I was so ashamed of it that I didn't even get out of the car.
We were like, oh, I've seen bigger than that. My goodness.
Oh, Brussels Griffin.
And there's the Brussels.
Use that.
Those private emails. Wow.
Yeah, Brussels Griffin. So yeah, there's those ideas, but like, what if it's not the giant refrigerator or the sink or the ransom note? I don't know exactly what you'd be ransoming. What do you see as parts of this project moving forward?
That's something we're starting to talk about, which is also very contingent on funding. So we're kind of out of money.
Yeah, the project was the original proposal only got us money for the original site and doing 6 installations there, which we have just finished, which is so wild. But yeah, Cam is like supporting these additional pieces, and we're taking this time to look for funding, really, because we want to continue the project.
Yeah, I certainly would love to see the project evolve in a way that maybe takes a curatorial approach. Like I would love to be able to do a series of PSAs written by like young people or high schoolers, and like being specifically amplifying, or even, I don't know, that'd be interesting.
I don't know.
Regardless of whether it's on like at 2222 or somewhere else. At its core, PSA is a platform, so I'd love to think about how we can offer that platform to folks who wouldn't otherwise be able to have one.
You really opened up the can by taking it off of 2222. That really like creates like a lot of really interesting collaborative opportunities, and and like ways for people to reclaim ownership of like the public spaces that they're inhabiting. You know, I said like the school thing as a joke, but like
No, but
schools have murals, and like being able to give people an opportunity to like have this temporary rotating thing in spaces that might feel like theirs or definitely don't feel like theirs. I think is a very, very like powerful and fundamental part of this work, and I know that we all want to see it grow and move forward.
I think piggybacking, if you will, off that is like something Rick and I talked a lot about preparing for this. Is like you guys use the word organizers seemingly a lot more, and you just happen to use the word curatorial, and I was like, because initially I'm thinking there's, you know, do you guys view yourselves as curators as much as like this term organizers? Like I something I think a lot about is the word producer. Like what does that mean? And takes on numerous spaces, but then also not just within finding people and then producing the work, but like I think there has to be this fire behind it to kind of motivate to want to create like a platform, like you said, like to create a canon for people to kind of put their work into to express themselves in a different way. So I'm extremely curious about all of that, but I guess specifically too, like what is it about like seeking out being a platform? Like, I mean, we're on the travel agency. This is Rick's platform. Like this is this beautiful thing that he is able to put together. And I've previously worked in spaces where I wanted to be like a platform. So I'm any reactions to all of that?
I, for some reason, just visualized me and Shannon like on our hands and knees with like a big piece of plywood on top of us.
Oh yeah, we are.
And then we are the platform, and then
The human stage. There you go.
Yeah. And that is my answer. No.
Good answer.
There's a lot of platforms these days.
Yeah.
Right. And we were just on our break. We were talking about content and how that's a weird word. And there's a lot of content we don't, that's undefined, right? The way we use it. I think as a platform, you know, PSA, and even now that we're thinking about it outside of the physical context that we've set up initially, how can it still be a platform? And I think going back to the underlying theme of PSA as being so amplifying voices that seek to question or challenge the notion of public good. I think that in and of itself, that concept, that constraint is a platform. So regardless of where or how PSA physically manifests, I think that it's an initiative maybe rather than a platform. I don't know.
Sure. No, I mean, I think all of them, like said in good faith and in earnest, like is that's the truth, you know. And anytime we use these terms that maybe feel like we're a platform that you know, it's like no, like it is, that's what it is, and we should just move on from that. And this idea that like, oh, everyone's got a platform, it's like, true, what does yours do though? You know, and that becomes the dividing line or the curatorial or organization of it that makes it stand out from others. And I just, you know, I think this one speaks for itself in so many ways as well. Like it literally has communication in it, you know. There's and me and Rick really love to get into like the micro mini sandwich little layers of these things. And so talking about this project in particular was just like really, really, really exciting to kind of have you guys here. And anyway, I don't mean to wrap it there. It sounds very like wrapping communication.
Bye. But thanks for coming by. We got some little sandwiches that we're gonna eat.
This is a Sprite tea party.
Yeah, it is. That's right. That's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
2043 Sprite tea party.
We'll run on that ticket. We'll make it happen.
But yeah, I think one of the ways that could go and is on brand for us, Ting, is like how do you all think of being in the art world, the difference in the definitions of referring to yourselves as organizers versus referring to yourselves as curators?
I don't think we've ever referred to ourselves as like curators.
Yeah, I think that was the first time I used the word curate.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I guess, you know, curate is really thrown around a lot these days, as much as platform is, right?
Right.
Yeah. But we do, Marina, we do curate. I mean, we make intentional decisions as to who we want to invite next based on their practice, their reach, their like where they are in their kind of creative career. And we're really mindful of that when we're inviting contributors.
Yeah, maybe like the curation is really just like the initial, you know, reaching out and doing invitation. But then after that is when the organization kicks in, maybe? Does that make sense?
I mean, curating is just a series of decision making, Right.
Maybe we should, refer to ourselves as decision makers.
Yes.
No, that makes us sound too
Artists, decision
confident.
makers.
Decision makers. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. PSA is a collaborative art project organized by decision makers Shannon, Levin, and Marina Peng.
We're changing our bio right after this.
Now it sounds like we run media conglomerates.
I mean, you kind of do a little bit. You have
Oh.
satellite places. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, no.
You're jumping the shark currently.
yeah.
No, that's great. And that's, I think that like language is obviously a big part of contemporary art. And, everything is written about and everything is contextualized through language. Your work is about language and about writing, more specifically and like coming to these terms that get just completely like obliterated by tech bros in like on the 12th floor of some random building downtown. It's like, like when these words take on different meanings and their like positive meanings are like obliterated by the proliferation of their marketing meanings, like we got to question those things. And the word curator still is just kind of like a little, like sometimes I'm like really happy with it. I'm really interested in that word. And then other times I'm like afraid of everything that it carries. So
Yeah, well, the one thing I'm afraid of with the word curator, it sounds like a gatekeeper. And as much as we have to make decisions because we would love for everyone to contribute to PSA, we have those limitations. So we have to be those decision makers. And in a sense, we have to confront the fact that we are gatekeepers and who are we granting access to this platform is something that we have to be intentional about.
And I love that the term organizer comes with a social good connotation to it too. Like we need to organize. Like artists in St. Louis need to organize. And through organization, that's where it gets a little weird, but through organizing we can start to make systematic change. But then, you also have some different connotations with organizations. But yeah, I see that as being a nice place for the way that you all talk about this work. This is like people organizing in a way that creates social good.
Also, facilitator also comes to mind.
Yeah.
There's a lot of words.
In the health and wellness field, this is what I was doing like jumping back into being an artist. Facilitation is like the same word as content over there. It's like everybody like everything is like facilitate.
I think the only word that's not allowed to be used anymore is disrupt. That is over. And we don't need to be at the intersection of anything anymore.
Intersections, yeah.
I'm still using that. I'm going strong with intersections.
Doubling down, buying high on intersections. Just disrupt is over. We gotta move on from disrupt. There's gotta be some other word.
Well, we're so jaded now that you can't disrupt anything.
Yeah, I know.
Nothing's surprising.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Was this sufficiently meta?
I think so. Did we disrupt the conversation about disruption? I think we did.